What is going on, everybody? This is the Negro Shotty, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a quick review. Well, I'm not even going to say a quick review. This is probably going to be. I hope that this review isn't going to be long because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reviewing the first 5 episodes of Samurai Jack season 5, and I hope, like I said, I hope that this video isn't too long, and I hope to put the timestamps. I hope to put timestamps in the description for the episode 5 review, that the review of the episode that just came on tonight. That way, if you guys want to just hear about my thoughts on tonight's episode, you can go and look in the description for the timestamp to the episode 5 review, and then just watch that. So, first and foremost, I just kind of want to get this out of the way, right off the bat. I wasn't a big Samurai Jack fan growing up. Like I really hated Samurai Jack, and honestly, I was totally wrong, especially with this season. This season has turned me into a Samurai Jack fan because it's doing a lot. It's doing a lot more with the way the story is being told and with the Samurai Jack character in this season, and in some of the past seasons. Something that I did not like about the way the story was told and about the Samurai Jack character was mainly because, for one thing, Samurai Jack, he was always very silent, very kind of closed off. Like you kind of didn't know what this man was thinking half of the time. He didn't really have, and this is my personal opinion, but he didn't really have a personality to him. Like I didn't like the fact that he didn't really talk too much, and the way the story was being told back in the day was you really had to pay attention to what was going on in both the background and also the foreground of a lot of these scenes, and just the way that I was as a kid, especially since I was like really big on Dragon Ball Z, really action heavy shows. So like growing up, Samurai Jack was always this show that was like a slow burn. It was like very slow paced. So really just to come into this season with a fresh with a like a fresh mindset, and like just come into the season with like no bias or anything like that. Just judging this season off of what I've seen, because I just binge watched the last 4 episodes back to back, and I gotta say this is pretty good. I've seen some of the best fight scenes that this series has had to offer uh, in these past 3 to 4 episodes. I think it was episode 3 that I said that it had some of the best fight scenes. But I'm probably gonna go ahead and just jump into my thoughts on episode 1 quickly. I'm just gonna kind of brush past a few things that I kind of liked about that episode because it's been a few weeks since I've seen episode 1. But something I do like that they did for episode 1 is we didn't we didn't really get to see like when the episode first comes on. uh, Jack is just riding on. He's riding on the motorcycle. We don't know that it's Jack, and the way that the show introduces this older and more brutal and psychologically damaged version of Jack that we didn't get in the past seasons. I like that. I also like in the first episode, we get to see Jack facing off against this robot that looks like he kind of reminded me of that jazz player that it was this jazz player from back in the day, Sammy. I think his name was Sammy Davis Jr. or something like that. I could be getting the name mixed up with a baseball player or whatever. But there was this episode. If you remember in episode 1, there was this robot that he kind of would remind you of this jazz player. I like the character designs for the robot and the weapons that he used. But really, I love that in this first episode we get to see Jack basically breaking down in this episode. We get to see him talking to himself at one point. He's hallucinating, and it's really messing him up during these fights that he has in the first episode. And throughout all of these episodes so far, we are just seeing Jack just basically just breaking down, feeling like he has failed everybody in the past. Like he feels like he failed his family and everything. He feels like he just failed in his mission. And the strange thing is that like the first thing that we notice is, Jack hasn't really aged for some reason, and it's explained in the later episodes. But overall, I thought that first episode was a great introduction. We also got to see the birth of the daughters of Aku, and basically the daughters of Aku are like these seven daughters that were trained up to basically kill Jack. And I like how we get to see them train and everything, and how they basically they were basically raised to be merciless. Like they were basically raised to be heartless. And I just really love the introduction of these characters, that like something that I really like that they're going to be doing for this season, and we've seen this so far is, you know, they're not going, like, it's not going to be just Jack fighting against robots and monsters and crap. Oh no, it's not going to be like in those other days where Jack was fighting against robots and stuff, and like we couldn't, like they couldn't show blood back in the day, so that's why Jack always had to fight against robots and machines and all that other type of crap. And so it's fun to actually see, and it's nice to actually see the show take a more brutal and dark turn. And getting into my review for episode 2, I would say that episode 1 was definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Lowest I can go for my score for episode 1, I could say that's a 9 out of 10. Now, for those of you guys who are just joining the screen, I'm going to just be doing a quick review of basically all the episodes. And for those of you guys who watch this video afterwards, like I said in the beginning of me starting the live stream, I'm going to basically put a timestamp in the description that basically you can go and just skip to the episode 5 review, the review of tonight's episode. So, getting into just my quick thoughts on episode 2. Uh, Episode 2 is basically the first episode where Jack fights against the daughters of Aku. He's confronted with them. It's really the first time that we get to see this new intro for season 5, the new bleak and dark intro, and I like it. I like it even more. Like I like it even better than the old intro. If you guys remember the old intro from the earlier seasons, I actually like this a lot more, and it definitely obviously fits with the tone of this season. I really like how dark this season has gotten, really, so far. And episode 2 opens up with a more lighthearted scene with Aku waking up, and he's feeling like very dissatisfied because he figured that by now, Jack should be dead by now. And we learned that in episode 2 that he basically closed. I guess he closed all the time portals and everything, and so he's pretty much he's he almost felt like it almost seemed like Aku was kind of bored. Like I got the sense that he wasn't really satisfied. Like he wanted Samurai Jack out of the picture, but he kind of acted. But he kind of was trying to act. He's kind of trying to act like he didn't care, like he didn't care anymore. And something that I noticed in this episode was basically this is the first time that we see Jack basically contemplating suicide. There comes a point in the episode where basically Jack is basically talking to himself, and we get to see like this blue. I guess the way I'm going to describe this is basically Jack talking to his conscious, or to a I guess you can say a embodiment of his conscience or something like that. It's basically this blue version of Samurai Jack appears right before him, and he's talking to him and everything. And so he's talking to himself, and he's basically contemplating suicide at this point because he's like, I'm tired. I'm tired of killing these freaking robots. I could do this crap all day, and really, like, it's just like everything is just taking a toll on me. Like, I'm tired of being hunted. I'm tired. I feel like I failed everybody. Like, we really get to see in this episode that Jack is pretty messed up. He's really messed up. And in this episode, like I said before, we get to see Jack fight against the daughters of Aku for the first time. And man, some I gotta say something about this episode that I really liked was, of course, throughout all these episodes, I'll say this right now, and especially this episode, the animation and everything was smooth. I like the sound effects of the weapons like hitting like the wall or hitting flesh or whatever. That's something like I normally don't notice, like little things about like sound effects and stuff like that in these shows, but for some reason it kind of just stuck out to me. And something that I feel like when Jack first kills that girl in this episode, Jack Jack's reaction to his first kill, because at this point in the season and in the show, Jack hasn't killed any humans. He's only destroyed robots and monsters and stuff, but he's never killed a human. So Jack's reaction to killing one of the daughters of Aku and just like slashing her throat, I was like, oh snap! Like it was really powerful for me. And then seeing that he ended up getting stabbed by her, and so by the end of the episode, his body, he jumps off. Basically, his body is floating, and in the episode after that, his body, he's unconscious and he's floating down the river. And throughout the second episode, we get to see this sort of symmetry between Jack, because Jack is being hunted throughout the episode. Jack is being hunted by the daughters of Aku, but also throughout the episode we get to see this white wolf that's being hunted by these like green tiger monster looking things. And by the end of the episode, the wolf seems to have died or have been like beaten severely. Like, it seems to be really injured. And then by the end of the episode, like I said a few seconds ago, Jack's body is basically like he's floating down the river and he's unconscious with all the blood just getting everywhere in the water. And I like that symmetry. I like how in the episode it shifted back and forth between the wolf and Jack, as the daughters of Aku were trying to hunt Jack down, and then also, of course, the wolf trying to fight off uh, its predators. And I will say that even though I thought that was a little bit too on the nose, I thought that was a little bit too simple, but I still like that aspect of it. I also like during the scenes where the daughters of Aku are like they're looking for Jack, and Jack is hiding and stuff. I like how in this episode they really played with like the darkness and the light in certain episodes. Like, in certain areas, as Jack was like forced to run and just like hide from the sisters and everything. And let's see. I think I pretty much covered everything for episode two. So overall, I thought episode two was pretty good, pretty freaking good. I would say that I liked episode two more than I liked episode one, but that's not to say that, like, that's not to take anything away from episode one. So moving on to episode three. Episode three picks up where basically Jack's body is floating unconscious down a waterfall, and then, like, because he was stabbed in the previous episode, episode two. And basically, this episode, part of the episode, Jack had Jack had to basically accept the fact that he took one of the daughters of Aku's life. Like he took somebody's life, and and in the episode, he also starts talking to himself again. That blue version of the Samurai Jack appears, and he's basically wrestling with this fact that basically he might have to kill again. He killed somebody, and he's gonna have to kill again. And something that I liked in this episode, there was this shot of the the silhouette of Jack covered in blood at one point, and then also, which I assume that this is the wolf from the second episode. I assume that that's the same wolf, and the wolf was like covered in blood. I really like that scene where like it shows both of them in their silhouettes and it's like all black, but like they're covered in blood. And in this episode, we also get to see like a flashback of Jack as a kid, and it shows us that this isn't the first time he actually saw somebody like get killed or anything like that. Like this isn't his first time seeing somebody die right in front of him. And I gotta say, this episode right here, episode 3, had one of the best fight scenes in the entire series, hands down. Period. Jack Jack literally punches one of the daughters of Aku to the point where I swear her neck broke. And like at one point he throws one of the daughters of Aku to her death. And the whole entire episode was just like it was beautifully animated. And I really love how at one point in the episode, uh, the daughters of Aku and Jack, they're fighting in the place around them is just covered in snow. And at one point, the entire background is white. And like I love how in the episode they kind of played with that white background at one point. At one point, like early during the fight with the daughters, where like everything around them was just literally snow and everything was just white. And I love how they just kind of like messed around with the background and stuff like that. So that's all my thoughts on episode 3. I thought episode 3 was pretty good. Episode 4, this in episode 4 was basically Jack trying to reach Ashe, trying to get her to understand, that he is not the bad guy, that Aku, that everything that Ashe has learned at this point is a freaking lie. Period. The episode basically opens up with Ashe and Jack being swallowed by a giant creature. And the insides, I can already tell you this, the insides of the creature, it was just really weird the way that this creature's insides were designed. The creature designs, the monsters that Jack and Ashi encounter in the episode. I like how different and how unique those designs were. Um, I also think that you know there were a few cool character scenes between Ashe and Jack, and honestly, in this episode, we got to see a little bit more of Jack's personality almost kind of leak out. Where there was this one scene where he's basically taking out these needles from Ashe and himself, and he makes some type of remark, and I just there were like two. I think there was like one. I think it was like 2 or 3 scenes in this episode where like he interacts with her, and it really just kind of shows off Jack's personality and everything like that. I also loved how the color palette in this episode, that was just like it's crazy because the way that the colors are used in this episode, I like that too. Like I said before, the monsters insides, all the monsters in the episode were really cool looking and unique. And by the end of the episode, Ashi appears to kind of be waking up from all of the bull crap that she's pretty much been taught. uh Ashi, like by the time that Ashi and Jack, they escaped from this creature that had swallowed them during the first part of the episode. Ashi notices the beauty of like the world around her, and we get to see like a flashback of her during her training days. And there was this one part, I guess there's one scene where she sees a ladybug, and the person that is overseeing her training crushes the ladybug, but she notices that Jack doesn't crush the ladybug. She notices the beauty around her, and that kind of gets her to kind of question whether Jack is telling the truth about her being lied to about Aku. And so overall, I thought episode 4 had great character development for both Jack and Ashi in a way. And that brings us to tonight's episode 5. I thought tonight's episode was pretty good. Um, it basically dealt with Ashi trying to struggle. She's basically struggling on whether or not she should believe Jack or whether she should continue to try to kill him. And something I like, something that I mentioned before. Obviously, we're getting a lot more of a sense, or at least in my opinion, it seems like we get to know a lot more. Like it seems like we feel like it seems like we are getting to, well, at least for me personally, it feels like I know a lot more. I can kind of understand a lot more about Jack's character, like Jack as a character now. And at one point, Ashi asks Jack about like the moon and the stars, and he tells her the story that his mother, that his parents used to tell him. And at the point that he's telling her the story, we get to see like this sun and this moon riding a phoenix. And really, something that I need to say about all these episodes is the, like I mentioned before, the color palette, the colors that are used throughout these episodes, and also tonight's episode. That part where they're basically they find out that there's these kids trapped in the factory, and they go to help. They go to try to rescue those kids, and the colors that are used, the colors that are used while they are infiltrating this factory, the dark red and black. You know, I like the use of color there. Jack, like I said before, Jack tries to basically show Ashi firsthand how Aku really is in this episode. He takes her to all these various places and explains how Jack has ruined. I mean how Aku has ruined like the nature, like nature around him. He shows her this one tree, this beautiful tree, and around this beautiful tree is all these dead trees and just nothing and just nothingness. He also takes her to basically this village that basically everybody has been defeated, everybody has been killed or hurt or whatever. And that is when they learn about these kids being kidnapped. And these and also they end up going to the city. And the only bad thing I'll say about this episode is the line of dialogue that one of the criminals that Aku is kind of letting because at one point they basically get into the city, like I said, and they watch as this criminal is given basically safe passage, excuse me, safe passage to another world. And this criminal is told that he can go to this other world, and basically from his reaction, we can tell like he's up to no good. He's probably going to cause some trouble in that world, in that planet or whatever. And basically throughout the episode, she finally realizes that Jack is telling the truth, and she actually helps him to free these kids. And by the end of the episode, because this robot, once they get to the factory, this robot is basically controlling these kids. Uh, I believe he was using like a microchip or something, like an implanted microchip that he was using to basically when he was messing with like this device, it was making the children go crazy and attack Jack. And uh, at one point, Ashi gets captured and she ends up defeating the guy. He ends up she ends up she ends up defeating the robot, but in the process, she ends up basically shocking all the kids, and at that point, Jack ends up thinking that all these kids just died right in front of his eyes, and he finally broke. I think this is the moment that Jack has finally broken, and then I think by the end of the episode, where Jack has basically walked off with that horseman that we have been seeing throughout these episodes. We've been seeing this dark figure in the silhouette, this horseman, and by the end of the episode, Jack walks off with the horseman, and I believe that he's going to kill himself. I don't even believe that horseman is real. I really don't. I really think that's just another hallucination, and I really think that Jack, just judging by his reaction, is like he's planning on killing himself. That's my 2 cents about it. And by the end of the episode, like I said, Ashi is basically she's basically broken the spell. I guess you can say I guess you can say that she's kind of done with all that brainwashing. Like she knows that Aku is the enemy, and she ends up helping Jack save those kids by the end of the episode. And honestly, this episode was pretty good overall. I gotta say, uh, great character development for Ashi, but I don't know what Jack is gonna do other than probably kill himself because it's been alluded to in these past few episodes. Like I said before, that Jack is pretty much broken at this point. He is he's just suffering. He's suffering mentally, and at one of the episodes that I mentioned before, he basically like it was it was basically like you can make the inference that Jack probably wants to die at this point, and he probably gonna kill himself. Who knows at this point? But that's what I think. I think that he's going with that shadowy figure to go off himself, because what else can it be? He saw all those dead, he saw all those kids that he thought was dead, and he really was fighting to save those kids. And that the robot says, something that robot says in the episode, he says that, look at Jack. You know, he said something among the lines of, Jack, throughout all of this, Jack is just hitting the kids. He's just kind of throwing them off of him, but he's not trying to kill them. And the robot notices this. He's like, even now, Jack is not trying to kill those kids. So Jack still sees that value of life. And so when he saw those kids die, I guess that kind of broke. Well, I guess when he thought that he saw all the kids die, it kind of broke something in him, and I think that he's gonna try to kill himself. I guess in the next episode, maybe Ashi is gonna try to find him, and maybe Ashi is gonna try. Maybe Ashi ends up rescuing him, ends up saving him from him trying to kill himself, and that way there is sort of this redemption, almost this redemption for Ashi as a character, and it will kind of help both of these characters really bond and really grow closer to one another in the next episode. That is just what I think. But overall, I thought tonight's episode was pretty good. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, there was just one line of dialogue that I thought was a little too on the nose, a little, I don't want to say cheesy, but I didn't like it. I understood what they were trying, like I understood what they were going for in one particular scene, but I just didn't like that one line of dialogue. So let me know what you guys thought about tonight's episode. Let me know what you guys have thought about the season so far. If you guys want to actually if you want me to do more of these episode reviews in the future, let me know. Like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and dislike it. If you guys want me to actually do a discussion, like a discussion with a few other people in here or whatever, just let me know. Thank you guys for watching this live stream and this video. I'll see you guys next time. This has been the Negro Shotty. I'm out of here. Peace.